We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
In the 60s, the moon was a scoreboard, a flag, a broadcast, a page in a textbook. Today, the prize is quieter and far more dangerous. The finish line isn't a crater or a countdown clock, it's the future itself. The old race was a sprint. This one is a campaign. Budgets replace battalions, algorithms replace admirals, and somewhere between ambition and vacuum, a handful of players are writing rules the rest of us will have to live by. So who's actually winning? The billion-dollar space race. Who actually wins? Let's keep score. First, why this matters now. Space isn't a museum, it's infrastructure. Satellites steer ships, time markets, watch forests, and warn of storms. As launches get cheaper and more routine, sensors multiply and Earth becomes legible in real time. Advantage follows. Military, economic, scientific. This isn't just prestige, it's leverage. Whoever makes space boring and affordable shapes life below the clouds. Winning isn't one trophy, it's 5. Keep this scorecard in mind. 1. Cadence and cost. Who flies often without breaking the bank? 2. Heavy lift and reusability. Big rockets that carry more and come back to fly again. 3. Moon timeline reality. Credible steps that put people on the surface and safely home. 4. The Earth to Moon supply run, topping up tanks in space and moving cargo like a schedule, not a stunt. 5. Sustainable economics, steady income that pays for mistakes because space punishes mistakes. Now, the philosophies disguised as players. SpaceX is the prophet of a new world. Iterate hard, learn in public, bend price with sheer volume. Blue Origin is the patient architect. Move industry upstairs to keep Earth a garden. Go slow, get it right, and bring money that doesn't flinch. NASA and ESA are the kingmakers. They set rules, write checks, and certify what ready means for the moon. China's CNSA is the silent empire. Fewer slogans, more milestones, long horizons backed by state resolve. 4 visions, 1 sky. Scorecard 1. Cadence and cost. Rockets don't care about opinions, they care about repetition. The team that flies most learns fastest and pays least per try. Right now, one player launches so routinely it feels normal, and normal is the miracle. That rhythm turns backlogs into schedules and schedules into reliability. Chasing behind is the patient newcomer, fresh off a breakthrough and now facing rocketry's hardest problem. Not first flight, but second, third, 10th. The state program climbs steadily with institutional will, but today, cadence belongs to the serial flyer. Scorecard 2. Heavy lift and reusability. Big reusable rockets are the cheat code. Fewer trips, bigger missions, bolder science. One ship is stress testing the largest design ever fielded, messy failures in public, valuable data in private, and the stubborn march toward heat shields that shrug and engines that relight. If it survives re-entry and turns around quickly, it will rewrite everyone else's homework. The 7-engine newcomer has the punch to matter fast if it sticks landings and learns to come back. Heavy lift favors the team taking bruises at scale. Scorecard 3. Moon timeline reality. A landing isn't a moment, it's a sequence. Crew systems, suits, comms, navigation, and a lander that behaves in lethal cold. The coalition around the Kingmakers has the scaffolding. Capsule, service module, checkouts, crews in training. Dates slip. This is spaceflight, but the ladder exists. Across the world, the quiet rival builds its own ladder step by steady step, publicly aiming for a crude South Pole landing before the decade ends. The patient architect joins later with a lander for a follow-on mission. Today's edge for first boots back leans to the coalition narrowly. Scorecard 4. The Earth to Moon supply run. Here's the bottleneck. The audacious missions depend on topping up tanks in orbit, 2 spacecraft docking so one can refuel the other, and on moving cargo through cislunar space. the neighborhood between Earth and the Moon. Do it once and it's a stunt, do it every month and the decade opens up. The current architectural lead belongs to the player designing a tanker train from day one. Others aim for heavier one-shot profiles or different staging, but if refueling becomes routine, capacity explodes. If it doesn't, timelines deflate. Scorecard 5. Sustainable economics. Rockets get cheap when someone else pays to fill them. Launch is a great business when paired with orbiting customers, constellations, cargo, national security, science. One team has a built-in demand engine and sells services from space back to Earth. Another can lean on deep pockets and a natural customer for heavy lift. The kingmakers spread work to keep multiple lanes alive. The state program can absorb shocks others cannot. But the only real safety in aerospace is revenue, persistent, boring, and big. So where does the scoreboard sit today? Cadence and cost, the serial launcher. Heavy lift traction, the audacious ship, with the 7-engine giant rising. First boots back on the moon. Slight edge to the coalition, dates are cautious, but the path is staffed and real, while the quiet rival is the late-decade wildcard. Refueling and logistics. Advantage to the tanker-first architecture, pending proof. Sustainable economics led to the team that flies for its own customers as much as for others. That's the present. But you didn't come for a scoreboard frozen in amber. You came to see around the corner. Who wins the 2030s? It depends on which hard thing becomes boring first. If full reusability and in-space refueling lock in, moving more stuff more often wins. The player built on iteration and scale becomes less a competitor and more an operating system for space, the platform everyone else uses or works around. If a state program nails a crewed landing at the South Pole and then builds power, habitats, comms, and supply lines, presence wins. Flags become bases, bases become addresses, and addresses become markets protected by policy. If redundancy shows up, 2 heavy lifts in cadence, 2 landers certified, resilience wins. A grounded fleet or a tightened budget slows a lane, it doesn't stop the highway. And if those hard things don't get solved on time, the decade belongs to the careful. Small steps, modest wins, steady reliability, not glamorous, decisive. Risk never changes. The vacuum doesn't negotiate, it doesn't care about tweets or trailers, only thrust, margins, and gaskets that shrink in the cold. That's why cadence matters, why budgets matter, why flying again next week beats any headline today. Failures teach, repetition turns them into progress. In space, hardware is the only opinion that counts. Zoom out and you'll see 4 futures contending for the same sky. Scatter, multiple planets, humanity ensured. Concentrate, industry in orbit, Earth preserved. Assert, national prestige, outposts as power. Coordinate, coalitions and science leading, commerce following. None purely right or wrong, all will be tested. The winner will be whichever becomes normal and affordable first. So who wins? Today, the crown sits with the team that flies most and learns fastest. Tomorrow, it goes to whoever makes refueling in orbit as casual as meeting at a depot, except both vehicles are racing around Earth at 28,000 kilometers an hour. That one procedure could flip the entire decade. Your move. Score the 5 categories in the comments. Who wins first moon return, mass to orbit, or staying power? Pick your author for the next chapter. The Prophet's lifeboats, the Guardian's orbital cities, the Empire's quiet momentum, or the Kingmaker's coalition. Because the first boot print of the new era won't just mark the ground, it will mark the future we choose to build. And when the next test fires, when the next review clears, when the next booster comes home, we'll update the board and keep score again.